Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us this evening here on Positive Reinforcement, episode 12. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we are going to go ahead and push pause on our typical agenda that we were originally going to follow this evening. And we're doing that because there have been some major developments that we must address, and the entire episode will be completely focused on those breaking events that have taken place this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the breaking news that I'm about to unfold to you involves the Terror. Ladies and gentlemen, the Terror has returned. It is back inside of the Men of 300 bathroom. We have confirmation now that the book has been returned. The location, however, is not located on the nightstand as before, but it is inside of the bathroom at this point. Let's go ahead and cut to a live feed. We can see here that the Terror, the novel of the with the new cover of the AMC adapted television show, the book has been placed within the stall area of the men's 300 bathroom, right next to the toilet, right above the toilet paper dispenser is the current location of the Terror book. Now, we got wind of the location of the Terror just minutes ago, and the fact that it has returned is major breaking news, and we will not back down from covering this and this exclusively today. Major developments happening, and anything new that occurs between now and the end of our broadcast, we will be sure to deliver that news to you. Again, my name is Justin Norris. This is episode 12 of Positive Reinforcement. Totally different episode today, a special edition focused wholeheartedly on the return of the Terror. Now listen, if there are any major developments that you feel we might not be aware of and you want to post about this on social media, please, by all means, use Protect the Terror, hashtag Protect the Terror. And also, if you have any information regarding who returned the Terror to the Men of 300 bathroom, please call us at 1-800 Terror Stoppers. That's 1-800 Terror Stoppers. We realize that this phone number does not match the amount of numbers needed for a correct phone number. What will happen is you'll call the number, you'll be sent to an operating line in New Zealand. They will then take the line and transfer it back to Sanger, California, where we will be able to document your news that you might have that you feel is important enough to deliver to us. Now, first, before we get into our theories about where or who has brought in the Terror, we want to talk about the status right now of the book itself. Currently, it is 63 degrees inside of the Men of 300 bathroom. That is an appropriate temperature for the Terror to be okay. Remember, guys, we are here today to protect the Terror. Not only do we need to find out who returned it, but we want to make sure that the Terror remains protected at all times and is never under the threat of disappearing again. That is our number one priority. We do not want the Terror to disappear again. Again, we're at a comfortable 64 degrees now in the Men of 300 bathroom. It is November 13th, 2019. This is an appropriate temperature for this time of year. Thankfully, it was returned on a beautiful day, and we don't have to worry too much about temperature being a reason why the Terror itself might decay or, be under the threat of any nature influence besides, rain or anything like that. It is protected underneath the roof of the 300 men bathroom, so we're not too worried about that. Now, what we do want to start talking about are the potential suspects here. Who exactly might have returned the Terror? Now, if you recall me a few episodes ago, I did bring up Mr. Seth Williams. Now, he is an English teacher here. He is in our PLC. He's a sophomore world literature teacher. And merely weeks ago, he had mentioned watching the show The Terror. He claims he had no idea what was going on when it came to the novel adaptation that we were in desperate search for. But now, being that The Terror has returned only weeks after he had made such a declaration, it's sort of hard to come to the conclusion that Mr. Seth Williams has no idea about what happened. It's hard to believe, but he is our number one prime suspect to be the one to return The Terror at the moment. Other possible suspects obviously include anybody that is located on the Men of 300 wall. All of the headshots indicate those who are most involved with what happens within the walls of the Men of 300 bathroom. So they are all definitely a suspect at the moment. But Mr. Seth Williams is our number one prime target. Now, before we get into any new details about what is going on with the current status of The Terror, let's cut to another live feed. There it is. It's perfectly fine. We've got lots of protection on the scene tonight. We've got ambulance, we've got firefighters, we've got police, we've got anybody on hand right now currently outside of the campus, making sure that no one is allowed in or out to ensure the safety of The Terror, to once again hashtag protect the terror. That is why we're here today. Now, we received a phone call earlier from Dan Simmons himself, the author of The Terror. Let's go ahead and play that phone call and let's hear what he had to say.
Yes, hello, this is Dan Simmons. I just wanted to call and send my condolences to you all. I know that you have been missing The Terror for quite some time. My heart goes out to you and anybody deeply affected by the absence of this novel. You know, I took a long time to make sure that my story was something that people could read comfortably inside of a public school bathroom. That's the sole reason why I set out to read the story in the first place. And if you pay close enough attention, you'll see that the vessel that the men ride in this story is actually a metaphor for a public school bathroom. So it's only fitting, and my heart goes out to you all, and I only hope that someday you can make sure that The Terror remains protected at all times without the worry of it ever being stolen again. Thank you very much.
There you have it, Dan Simmons, author of The Terror, calling in. He heard about the disappearance about a month or so back, and he has been adamantly keeping tabs with us, the Men of 300, to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to have The Terror returned. Remember, guys, this is all about the comfort and the well-being of the Men of 300 bathroom, and once The Terror was taken, that was disrupted. That comfort and well-being was completely thrown off kilter, but now we are here with striking breaking news about the return of The Terror at Sanger High School. Now, with The Terror itself, there is a slight possibility that this could not be the same book that was taken from the Men of 300 bathroom. However, it does have the same amount of weathering that the previous novel had. So it is likely to come to the conclusion that this is the same exact copy that was originally found in the Men of 300 bathroom. We had forensic scientists on site that had done a thorough investigation, leafing through the pages. One clear indicator that someone was using The Terror was that there was an earmarked page right around page 64, which indicated that A, this person did not make that much progress with The Terror, but B, someone was using it for their own personal gain, where the Men of 300 bathroom is a communal commune, I can't say that word, I'm going to shift to a different word. The Men of 300 bathroom is a public space for everybody to enjoy, and the Terror is not just one single person's piece of property to enjoy. It is for everyone, which is why the Terror will or should always remain within the walls of the 300 bathroom. Now, after the investigation, another thing that we were able to conclude was that there's been a lot of mysterious activity outside of the 300 bathrooms since the disappearance. One anonymous user was able to send us this photograph of the outside of the Men of 300 bathroom, which indicates someone coming in or out of the bathroom holding what looks to be like the book itself. So whoever sent in this picture, please call 1-800-TERROR-STOPPERS. We would greatly appreciate some more details that you have surrounding this mystery person and what their involvement is exactly with the Terror. Now, throughout the day, we have been receiving mysterious phone calls that might pertain to the Terror itself. We didn't really take anything super seriously. We thought that this was just someone joking around. It's been so long since the Terror has been in the Men of 300 bathroom. We haven't really had the opportunity to consider any of these phone calls to be serious. I mean, people are calling in and day out, mocking us for being so up in arms about the Terror. So none of these phone calls seem to be legit. Let's go ahead and play one of those phone calls right now.
Hey, yeah. I think I know who took the Terror, man. I think I know, man. It was Mr. Bacon, dude. Yeah, Mr. Bacon took it, man. Yeah, you're the one that said he took it out of the trash can. He said he saw someone put it in the trash can and Mr. Bacon took it out, man. It sounds like Mr. Bacon's got some kind of conspiracy theory going on, man. He's the one that's doing it, man. You can't trust Mr. Bacon, dude. He's the one that took it. He's the one that's bringing it back, man. He's playing games with you all, man. It's Mr. Bacon's fault, dude. Gotta do it, man. You gotta put Mr. Bacon down. You gotta arrest him, man. You gotta punish him, man. It's him. He's the one doing it. He's the one disrupting all of the comfort inside of the Men of 300 bathroom, man. It's all Mr. Bacon, man. It's all Mr. Bacon.
All right, now, with these phone calls, it's obvious that now, especially with these events unfolding, that it's clear that these might be serious. These might be serious phone calls indicating that the return was inevitable. Now, as far as who could have possibly returned this novel, like I said, our prime suspect at the moment is Mr. Seth Williams. He is an English teacher here at Sanger High School. He's a world literature teacher in our PLC. He was the one to bring up the Terror randomly at a PLC meeting just weeks ago, and now here we are. Suddenly, the Terror has returned, and our biggest lead is the fact that he brought this up. Who is going to bring up the Terror randomly like that unless they are feeling guilty about taking it, unless they are upset with the fact that they're the reason why the well-being and the sense of comfort in the Men of 300 bathroom has been disrupted. Now, Mr. Seth Williams also, coincidentally, has not been able to been contacted. I don't think I said that correctly, but we have not been able to contact Mr. Seth Williams at all today. So what does that mean? He's probably gone. He's probably in hiding. He might have fled the country at this point. But let me tell you something. No one else has uttered a single thing about the Terror except for Mr. Seth Williams. So we're going to have him under our watch, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and have another check-in with our live feed. The Terror is currently within the back side of the men's 300 bathroom. So as soon as you walk in, you are not going to see the Terror. What you're going to see is our nightstand. You're going to see the sink. You are going to see our valence hanging up right there where the stall is, to provide a little bit more privacy for our users. But as soon as you walk into the stall and look directly to your right, you will see the Terror sitting there propped up right on top of the toilet dispenser. Now, what this brings into question is the person using the Terror. What were they doing just before they set it down? That is why we had forensic scientists go ahead and put on some rubber gloves to take a look at it. We did not want to contaminate it. If it is contaminated already, we don't want to disrupt anything that might be residing on top of the book itself, within the pages, etc. Anything that might lead us to figure out who exactly took the Terror. We don't want to disrupt that. But let me tell you something else. The Terror has been relinquished. And I'm not talking about the book itself. I'm talking about the terror that we have felt. This is an important set of events that have happened today. And I apologize if I seem a little off kilter, because this isn't usual to have this entire episode dedicated to one thing. But being that it is the return of the Terror, this is not an ordinary day in American history. That's for sure. This is a day that will be written about in history books. And to be the one here to deliver this news to you is not only an honor, but a privilege. And I'm going to do the best that I can. So I apologize if I stumble over words or if my emotions get the best of me at times. I'm doing the best that I can to make sure that you are informed and you get the education you need regarding the return of the Terror. We are here, guys, to protect the Terror. And thankfully, we've got lots of we've got medical personnel on site. We've got police officers here. We've got the fire department. We've got EMTs. We got everybody doing what we can to further enhance the process of protecting the Terror at all costs. Now, since the Terror entered the Men of 300 bathroom, we noticed a large spike in sales regarding AMC show adaptation novels. And that's something that we feel is important because the more exposure something like the Terror gets in our world, we then, as a consequence, open the door to more potential threats. And the more that the Terror, the show, gets exposure, the more likely we, as the Men of 300, are suspect to having another event like this happen again. Now, we are all about the protection of the Terror here. We do not want anything to happen. It would be great. It would be paradise if we could protect the Terror at all costs and not have it disappear again. But with the increase in sales of novels that have been adapted into AMC television shows, we see that the threat is likely to happen again, and we see that the threat has escalated. So that is why this is such a dire situation, and that is why we are doing everything we can, and we have everyone on site to try to assuage this tragedy. Like we said, we've got nobody coming in and out of campus right now because the Terror is the number one priority, and we're going to remain on that. Let's go ahead and check back with the live feed of the Terror. You can clearly see here that it is protected, that nothing seems to be happening to it at the moment. Our weather reader indicates that we are at 60 degrees now. So the temperature is starting to decline. And what that makes us worry about, especially at this hour in the day on November 13th, 2019, pages might crinkle because of the cold. And also it might not be that easy to access if people's hands are starting to get colder. It starts to get more difficult to turn the pages. The likelihood of paper cuts and things like that comes into play. So people might not have a positive experience with the Terror reading it at this point because the temperature is declining so rapidly. But the bottom line here is the Terror is in our possession, and we are going to do everything that we can to keep it here. All right. Right now, we're not so concerned about people enjoying the Terror. Once time has passed and we have been able to determine who it might be, Seth Williams, who's responsible for taking and returning the Terror. Once we have more of a grip on who that is, right now we're not too concerned about people picking up the Terror to read it. We're just worried about keeping it in one safe location. And that right now is in the Men of 300 bathroom. With Mr. Seth Williams being our prime suspect, we're going to keep our eye out for him. In the meantime, if you see him, if you hear from him, please call us at 1-800-TERROR-STOPPERS. Do not hesitate. You'll be directed to our New Zealand line, and they will take you back to our American line where we will collect those details from you. There is a reward just in case you do happen to help us lead us to our suspect who is responsible for bringing in the Terror after taking it. And that reward is this. We will give you the first 3 episodes of AMC's Terror on VHS cassette tape, so you will be able to enjoy those at your leisure. Now, one thing we want to address is right now the time in London, England is 6:30 a.m. So right now, anybody who is waking up on the other side of the world, they might be enjoying their morning by putting on an episode of The Terror, and they might want to follow along to see if the television show adaptation is faithful to the book. Now, if someone owns a copy of The Terror, what are they going to want to do with that copy? Just like anything else they might own, they want to keep it in their house, in their apartment, in their flat, whatever you want to call it. They want to keep it there in their possession. Just like us, we want to keep it here. So even though it's 6:30 a.m. London time, The Terror is going to be important to anybody that has purchased it, that owns it, that has it near them. So what I'm trying to say here is that we are just like them. Their copy of The Terror is just as important as our copy, and we want everyone tonight to feel safe and secure about their copy of The Terror. If it brings them a sense of comfort and joy like it does us within the Men of 300 bathroom, our hearts are with you tonight. And that brings us to our next hashtag. If you would like to please go ahead and share, if you have any connection to the missing Terror, the tragedy that has been happening over the last few months, if you have someone in your life that has been affected by this, please spread the word. Use the hashtag Pray for the Terror along with Protect the Terror. It will do nothing but increase awareness about this senseless tragedy. Now, the book itself is, like we had mentioned before, it is very likely that this is the same exact copy. Could it possibly not be the same copy, though? That's the hot topic tonight, and we don't want to accept that possibility, but we are realists here at Positive Reinforcement. So we are definitely going to take that into consideration. In no way are we closing the book tonight and saying, job well done, guys, The Terror is back, we don't have to worry about it. No, sir. We are here to protect the Terror, and we are leading an ongoing investigation about where the Terror is and making sure that it doesn't leave. while we have a copy of The Terror, it is definitely a possibility that this might not be the copy. And that's why we're here tonight. That's why we're continuing to keep track of The Terror itself. Let's go ahead and check back in with the live feed. It looks as if our temperature has decreased yet again, ladies and gentlemen. It is 57 degrees inside of the Men of 300 bathroom. We have more personnel that have entered the bathroom at this time. They are keeping track of the temperature, making sure that the cold does not affect the well-being of the atmosphere of the Men of 300 bathroom. We're also making sure that the cold does not affect the status of the book itself. Now, earlier I had mentioned that the page was earmarked, page 64 specifically. So what this tells us is someone made progress with the book, but not significant progress. Now, this is absolutely disrespectful. We live in a climate, right, where critics of all sorts of different mediums are running rampant on the internet. In the Men of 300 bathroom, the last thing that we need are people critiquing the things that make us feel at home. Now, if someone is only at page 64, that means that they weren't enjoying it, that it wasn't a page turner, that they didn't finish it within a day, etc., etc. This is just outright disrespectful. Now, we at Positive Reinforcement are all about basic human rights. We are all about making sure that every single person that comes in and out of the Men of 300 bathroom is treated with the utmost respect. And now someone not only had the nerve to take The Terror away from the Men of 300 bathroom, but they also had the nerve to not finish the story, to not enjoy The Terror itself. Now, have I read The Terror? No. Guess why I haven't been able to read The Terror? Because The Terror was taken from us. But that's why we're here tonight. Let's go ahead and check in with the live feed of The Terror. Currently, we're still sitting at 57 degrees, nice and comfortable. I've just been alerted that we got 6 or 7 different authoritative personnel figures inside of the Men of 300 bathroom, making sure that everything is safe and secure. There is nothing that we are not. Let me rephrase that. Sorry, I'm getting emotional over here. There is nothing that we won't do to ensure the safety and the protection of The Terror, and that's why we're here tonight. Now, this photograph that we had received earlier, it begs the question: is this or is this not Mr. Seth Williams? I am leaning heavily toward yes, this is him, because he mentioned The Terror out of nowhere at the PLC meeting just weeks ago. We have been alerted that Seth Williams was on campus today, ladies and gentlemen. I had zero contact with Mr. Williams today, but apparently he was on campus today. We're getting closer and closer to some kind of answer here regarding The Terror. And you know what? If it is Mr. Seth Williams, will I ever be speaking to him again? Obviously not. Will his photograph be taken down from the Men of 300 bathroom? You better believe it. We do not stand for that kind of behavior. We do not stand for that kind of tarnishing, okay, of our home, our bathroom, our home base. This is sacred ground. And anybody that has the nerve to come in and disrupt just how sacred of an environment the Men of 300 bathroom is, they're not allowed in anymore. You can guarantee that. That's a positive reinforcement guarantee. Whoever it is, they will not be allowed in the Men of 300 bathroom ever again. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to stay on top of this coverage of the protection of the terror within the Men of 300 bathroom 24 hours, 7 days a week, all the way until we find out who the perpetrator is, who's responsible for taking it, who's responsible for bringing it back. Is this the original copy? These are the tough questions that we are going to provide answers to. Now, our coverage today has come to an end, but our coverage, once the cameras stop rolling, does not stop there. I am going to work adamantly, as well as the rest of the Men of 300, to figure out an answer to the question, who took the terror? We don't know, but bottom line is we are just glad, we are elated, we are so happy that the terror is back with us, and we're going to do whatever we can to protect the terror. If you have any further information that leads to the arrest of, that's right, this person deserves to be arrested and thrown in jail. How about that for 2 cents thrown at you, okay? If you have any information that leads to the arrest of the person responsible for bringing in the terror and not admitting to it, please call 1-800-TERROR-STOPPERS. You will be sent to our New Zealand line. They will send it back to us, and we will collect your information. Hopefully, we can figure it out. We can figure out who's responsible, and we can take them down. All right? I appreciate your time. Next week we will, depending on what happens here, we'll hopefully be back on track with episode 13. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justin Norris for Protect the Terror. This is Positive Reinforcement Special Edition. We will see you next week. Thank you very much. And remember, #ProtectTheTerror. Good night.